Okay, we're off. So today we're going to be making a poncho using the flower stitch motif that I used in my market bag pattern that I've already posted online. I really like the stitch and I wanted to make a poncho, so I worked up how to do those two things together. I recommend following along with the pattern stitches that I've posted online. I will work on getting the pattern typed up for this particular pattern, but I haven't done it yet, and I'll post a link when it's done. It's very, very similar to the flower stitch bag, so if you can follow along with those pictures, you should be alright for the time being. There are a lot of little bits and different types of moving pieces, the different V-stitches and the joins and the different rounds, but it does work up pretty well once you get the hang of it. So to start off with, we're going to do 90 foundation single crochets and join them together into a round. You could start with 90 chains if you wanted to, but I prefer starting with the foundation single crochet. It works up really fast and I think it's easier to work into than the chains when we start working on the first round. So I just want to make sure I'm in the center. Okay, good. So to start the foundation single crochet, we're going to chain 2. And then we're going to slip our hook into the first chain and make sure we get these 2 loops over here. We don't want to end up getting just one, it's going to look weird. So we insert the hook, yarn over, and draw the loop through. That's our foundation chain. So there's the chain. And now we're going to do the crochet, so we yarn over again and draw through both loops. So this is one stitch. Now we're going to do the next one. So I usually keep my stitch pinched right here between my fingers so I don't lose it. It makes it a lot easier to work into for the next stitch. So we're going to go into that foundation, make sure we pick up the two loops. We don't want to get just half of it. Yarn over, draw up the loop. Yarn over, draw through just one loop, so that's our foundation chain. And then we're going to yarn over and draw through both, and that's the single crochet. So only 88 more to go. And I'll be using stitch markers as I go along to help me keep track of how many I've done. I tend to obsessively count and recount because there's been too many times that I thought I counted it right and I didn't. And I got through almost all the way of the next round and had to rip it all back because I was off by a stitch or 2. Oh, I forgot to say what yarn I'm using. I'm using 100% cotton Lily brand sugar and cream. I got this giant skein from the 757 Creative Reuse Center. For maybe $1, maybe $2. So I'm pretty excited to get to use it. It's been sitting in a drawer for a while. So that's 89. Alright, so now we're going to join our 2 pieces, our 2 ends. So we have a circle. You want to be careful, make sure your line isn't tangled or anything. So we're going to run nice and smooth. So we're going to start our foundation the same way. We're going to slip our hook in through there, yarn over, draw one through. And now instead of just drawing one through again, we're going to put our hook through the very first stitch and draw a loop through from there instead. And make our stitch. Okay, so now to finish off the round, we're just going to slip stitch right into the very beginning, the very first stitch. Okay, so that's the foundation done. Now remember, this is going to be the top of the poncho. This is your neckline. And what we're going to end up doing is working all the way in the round. We're going to have 2 points on each end. We'll do our corner stitches here, and it'll be kind of almond shaped, and we'll just keep going around and around. So let's get going. We're not going to start off doing the flower motifs. We've sort of got to do an in-between round here, which is single crochet followed by chain 3 and then skip 2 spaces and do the same thing. So to start off, we'll chain 1 and then single crochet into this starting foundation stitch. So that's 1 single crochet. Then we're going to chain 3, 1, 2, and 3, skip 2, and then single crochet into the next stitch. Okay, chain 1, 2, and 3, and then skip 1, 2, and do a single crochet into the next space. And then chain 1, chain 2, chain 3. Okay, so we're going to repeat that all the way around our circle. Okay, so this is going to be our last single crochet of the round. So we're going to skip 2, 1, 2, and single crochet here. And it might look like I'm off a little bit, but this is actually the last 2 foundation single crochets, and then this stitch right here is just the slip stitch, so we don't really count it. So what I'm going to do is single crochet, skip 2, then single crochet, and now instead of chaining 3, in order to join these rows, I'm going to do a round B join, where I will chain 1 and then double crochet into the first single crochet of the round. And what this does is it puts my start of the next round in the middle of this chain 3 instead of at the end, and then I'd have to slip stitch. And I like joining the rounds this way a little better. I think it ends up laying nicer, and it makes the joins in the later rounds easier to do. You don't end up in the middle of a flower. Okay, so that's the end of the first round, and you can see we have a nice circle and we have these little loops going all around. And what we're going to end up doing next is working our flowers into these loops, our flowers and V stitches. So you'll hear me talking a lot in the video about A rounds and B rounds. Basically the flower motifs are made, the bottom 4 petals are made in the A round, and then the top 2 petals are made in the B round. So I'll have A round flower motifs, A round V stitches, A round starts and joins, and then I'll also have B round flowers and corners and V stitches and starts and joins. So I'm going to cut the video for a moment real quick, so make sure I don't run out of memory here, and then we'll be right back and we'll get to working on the flower motifs and the corner stitches. Okay, so we have our first 2 rounds completed. We've got the first round that was the foundation single crochets that we joined here, and then we did our second round of our chain 3s and single crochets. Now we're going to start with a round, round A, because we ended with a round B join, so now we're going to start with the round A start, which is basically we're starting in the second half of a round A corner V stitch. So we start with chain 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and I'm counting this as a triple crochet and chain 3. And then we're going to work a triple crochet into that same space here. Okay, so that's the round A start. We chained 6 and then did a triple crochet. Now we're going to start on a flower motif A. The A flower motifs have 4 petals in them. each petal is a set of 3 unfinished triple crochets. And the first petal starts with a chain 3, which is counting as 1 unfinished triple crochet. We're going to work 2 more unfinished triple crochets right here, and then 3 here and 3 here, and we're going to close that off, and then we're going to work our last petal and then move over to do a V-stitch here. So I'll show you as we go. An unfinished triple crochet looks like this. We're going to wrap twice as if we were working a triple crochet, and now we're going to insert our hook into the base of this petal. Notice I'm catching two loops. We're going to yarn over and drop a loop, then yarn over and draw through 2, and then yarn over and draw through 2 again. And if this were going to be a full triple crochet, we would yarn over and draw through both of these, but for now we're just going to keep that one on our hook. Okay, so we're going to do the same thing into the exact same spot. Yarn over twice, insert our hook, yarn over and drop a loop, and then yarn over, draw through once, yarn over, draw through twice. Okay, so this is our first petal. We've got the chain 3 that we started with, and then 2 unfinished triple crochets. Now we're going to start working on the second petal, and we're going to anchor this in this chain 3 space. In the past, I've been a little lackadaisical and just inserted my hook into the space, but on the last one that I did, I was a little more precise and making sure that I worked exactly into the second chain of that chain 3 space, which is what I'm going to do here. So we yarn over, drop a loop, draw through once, draw through twice, and we've just made another unfinished triple crochet. So we're going to work 2 more into that same place. Okay, so that's another 3 unfinished triple crochets, so we know that that petal's done. Now we're going to move on to the next petal, which we're going to work into the next chain 3 space, and I'm going to work it exactly into the second chain. So yarn over twice, drop a loop, pull through 2, pull through 2. We're going to do it twice more, so we get 3 unfinished triples for that petal. Okay, so now you should have 9 loops on your hook. What we're going to do is yarn over and draw through all 9, and then chain 1 to lock that in. Okay, so we've got the first 3 petals done of our flower motif. Now for the last petal of the flower motif A, we're going to chain 3 again, which is counting as an unfinished triple crochet, and then we're going to work 2 more unfinished triples into that chain that we just made, this center piece right here. So yarn over twice, insert a hook, drop a loop, yarn over, draw through 2, yarn over, draw through 2 again, and we're going to leave it there because it's unfinished. Okay, so now this petal has 3, and we're going to yarn over and draw through all 3 loops. Okay, so that is all 4 petals of that flower motif. Alright, now we know we just did a flower motif A, and every time we do a flower motif A, it's followed by a V-stitch A, which is a triple crochet into the next chain 3 space. So that's right here, and I'm going to make sure I work it right into that second chain. If you want to be a little sloppier and have your piece a little looser, you can just work it into that space. And this is going to be an actual triple crochet, so we're going to go once, twice, and 3 times. And then we're going to chain 3 again. And then we're going to work another triple crochet into that same place. Okay, so that's it. We have our first flower and our first V-stitch. Now we're going to keep working these all the way across till we get halfway around our circle, which I will have to count really quick because I think it's 5 on each side, 5 flower motifs. Okay, I shouldn't have double guessed myself. It is going to be 5 flower motifs, and then we'll work a corner V-stitch. So we've already got 1 done, and we're going to go ahead and work 4 more. So I'll work through that flower 1 more time, slowly. So 1, 2, 3, chain 3. Now we're going to yarn over twice to work our first unfinished triple, and I'm going to slip my hook right in here. And the second unfinished triple. So again, we have that first petal done, but we're going to leave those 3 unfinished triple crochets on the hook for now. Now we're going to go to look at the next chain 3 space, and we're going to work 3 more unfinished triple crochets right into that second chain. So that's 2. That's 3. And now we're going to work 3 unfinished triples into the next space. That's 2. And 3. So now we have 3 petals done. We're going to yarn over and draw through all 9 loops that were on our hook, and then chain 1 to lock them in place. And now we have to do the last petal, which is another chain 3, 2 and 3, and 2 more unfinished triple crochets. Okay, so we have these 3 done. We're going to yarn over and lock those in together. Now we're up to our next V. So this is another V-stitch A, which is a triple crochet into the next chain 3 space. Followed by a chain 3 and another triple crochet into the same spot. Okay, so that is 2 flower motifs and 2 V-stitches done. I'm going to keep working here till I get the 5th one ready, and then I think after that it's instead of a V-stitch, it's going to be a corner V-stitch. And I'll walk you through that. Okay, so that was the 5th flower, and if you look, we are about halfway around. So in the next space, instead of doing just a V-stitch, we're going to do a corner V-stitch, which is basically 2 V-stitches joined by a chain 3, worked into the same chain 3 space. So for this one, instead of working exactly into that second chain, I'm just going to work into the space non-specifically. So just like that, a triple crochet, chain 3, and another triple crochet. So that was our V-stitch. Now we're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and work another V-stitch into the same chain 3 space. Which is a triple crochet, followed by a chain 3, and another triple crochet into the same space. Alright, so let's take a look. We've got our 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 flowers and our corner V-stitch, which is right here. And now you'll see it's very obvious that this one is different from the rest. So on the next round, it's going to be a lot easier to realize, oh, I'm working in a corner. You won't have to guess where it is. It'll be very obvious, and you won't miss it, hopefully, and have to go back and rip back. Not that I've done that a lot. So now we're going to keep working on our flower motifs, and that should bring us with another 5 flowers all the way back to where we started, and we'll do the round A join. Okay, so we're just going to pretend like this was a V-stitch and work the same flower motif, which is chain 1, 2, 3, and start working our unfinished triple crochets just like we were before. Okay, we're back. My video cut out. I can only record so much at a time. But what we've done is worked all the way around, almost all the way back to the beginning. And you can see here we only have 2 chain 3 spaces left, but that's exactly where we want to be. So we're going to work one more flower. So we'll start the first petal, anchor the second petal here, third petal here, do the fourth petal, and then in this space where we started, we're going to finish off the corner V-stitch and join the 2 together. So you'll end up with 2 V-stitches in this space joined together, and then we'll start the next round. So I'll walk you through it, and here we go. Okay, so that's the flower, and now we're going to work a V-stitch just like we did before. Triple crochet into the next chain 3 space. Chain 3, another triple crochet. Okay, so now we're ready to join. Now when we joined the round with all the single crochets and chain 3s, when we joined we chained 1 and then did a double crochet. This time we're going to switch it up and we're going to chain 2 and then join with a single crochet. Okay, so I'm slack on this one. I just put my hook into the space, draw the loop, and make my single crochet. So that's the end of the round, which is our third round. And we've got the bottoms of 10 flowers started. And we have a corner over here and a corner over here. So what's going to end up happening is we'll keep working our corners in the corners, and we're going to end up with a nice almond shape. So let's get started on the round B, and that starts with a round B start, which is, again, like we did on the round before. We did the second half of a corner VA. We're going to do basically the second half of a corner V-stitch B. So that's going to be chain 1 just to start us, and then we're going to work a single crochet right into this space here. Just like that. And then we're going to chain 3, 1, 2, and 3, and then single crochet 1 into the next chain 3 space, followed by another chain 3. So that's how that round starts. And now we're going to get working on the flower motif B, which is the top 2 petals, petals 5 and 6 of our flower motifs. And again, these are going to be more unfinished triple crochets. So the first petal, or the 5th petal of the flower, is 3 unfinished triple crochets, and we're still working right into that same center spot. And we're just going to cram a whole bunch in there. So we've got 1 triple crochet, or 1 unfinished triple crochet, a second unfinished triple, and a third. So that's our petal, and we're going to walk those all off. And then between the 5th and 6th petals we chain 3. So 1, 2, and 3. And now we're going to work on the last petal, which is another 3 unfinished triple crochets into that same spot. 1, 2, 3, and then we yarn over and pull through all the loops on our hook, and that's flower motif B. Now V-stitch B is chain 3, single crochet into the next chain 3 space, and then chain 3 again. So let's go ahead and do that. And these ones I'm also not careful about exactly which chain it goes into, but if you wanted to, you could be precise and make sure that it goes exactly into that second chain. To me, it doesn't matter, so I'm just gonna do it the lazy way, easy way. And so that was chain 3, single crochet, and then chain 3 again. So now we're up to the next flower. So we're going to do another flower motif B, which is 3 unfinished triples, followed by a chain 3 and 3 more unfinished triples. So it's 1, 2, 3, then yarn over and draw through all the loops on your hook, followed by chain 3, and then the same thing over again into the same place. It's 1, 2, and 3, and then yarn over and draw through all the loops on your hook, and that's the second flower finished. And every time we finish a flower motif B, we move right on to a V-stitch, and in this case, because it's just the one, the V-stitch A beneath it, we're going to do a V-stitch B. We don't have to worry about our corner yet. So we'll chain 3, 2, 3, and then single crochet into the next chain 3 space, followed by another chain 3. So every time you have just a V-stitch, the first V-stitch we did, we're going to do a second V-stitch into it on the next round. And we'll just keep working like that all the way around until we get to the corner, and I'll show you what to do in the corners. I found the B rounds always go a lot faster than the A rounds. There's just a lot less that you're doing, half as many petals. Okay, so we just finished a flower motif B, and then we go and we're going to do our next V-stitch, and we see, oh no, this is different. I can't just do a V-stitch because I did a corner V-stitch before. So it'll be very obvious as you're going along that it's time to do something different, because you'll see these 3 all in a row. So what we're going to do here is we're going to work a V-stitch. So chain 3, single crochet, followed by a chain 3, And then in this space, we're going to work a single crochet, chain 3, and another single crochet. So single crochet, 1, 2, 3, another single crochet, and then we're going to work another V-stitch B, which is chain 3, single crochet, chain 3. And all of that together is a corner V-stitch. Chain 3, single crochet, chain 3. Okay, so the two actual V-stitches from the previous round each have a V-stitch above them, but then the chain 3 that joined those two V-stitches together has a single crochet, chain 3, single crochet. But now we're back around to the next flower, and we're going to go back to our flower motif B's, and we're going to work those all the way around till we get back to where we started, and we'll work on the join. Alright, so once again, we've been working around, we're cruising along, doing our V-stitches and our petals, and we come here, and we notice this is different from these other V-stitches I've been working into. And turns out we're back in a corner. So what we're going to do here is do the first half of a corner V-stitch, which we already worked on the other side, which starts out like a normal V-stitch B, which is chain 3, single crochet in the next chain 3 space, followed by another chain 3, and then in the next chain 3 space we already have one single crochet worked, so we're just going to do one single crochet and then we're ready to join. And on the last round, remember, we chained 2 and then joined with a single crochet. Here we're going to do the opposite. We're just going to chain 1 and then join with a double crochet. So yarn over and then insert your hook into that very first single crochet, drop a loop, yarn over, draw through 2, yarn over, draw through 2 again. So that's your double crochet, and we're right in the middle of a chain 3 space now. And this is what you should look like. We've got 5 complete flowers on each side and 2 completed corners. Really starting to get that nice oval shape. So what's next? Well, we just finished a round B, a B round, so our next task is going to be an A round, and we'll start with the A round start, which, if you remember from before, is chain 6, and work a triple crochet into the same chain 3 space. And this basically is the second half of a corner V-stitch A, and it's also basically the same as just a regular V-stitch A with a triple crochet, chain 3, and triple crochet. And we know that whenever we finish a V-stitch A, the next thing we do is flower motif A. And for a flower motif A, the second and third petals get always worked into the next chain 3 spaces, which in this case is this one and this one. So just like before, we're going to chain 1, 2, 3, and then 2 unfinished triple crochets into that same anchor point. Now we're going to work on the second petal, so we're going to look at the next chain 3 space and anchor 3 unfinished triple crochets into the second chain. And now to the third petal, same thing, anchor 3 unfinished triple crochets into the second chain of that chain 3 space. And then yarn over and draw through all 9 loops. And then chain 1 to lock those, so we've got 3 petals. Now we're going to do the 4th petal, which is chain 3, followed by 2 unfinished triples in the same spot. Okay, now that we've finished our flower motif A, the next thing we're going to do is a V-stitch A, which is going to go into the next chain 3 space, which is always going to be the chain 3 space between the 5th and 6th petals of that flower motif. So we're going to work a triple crochet into the second chain of that chain 3 space, followed by chain 3 and a second triple crochet. Okay, and once we finish V-stitch A, we move right into flower motif A once again, working the 2nd and 3rd petals into the next open chain 2 spaces. Or into the next open chain 3 spaces, I mean. Okay, so what's next? Oh, it's the chain 3 space between 2 petals. I better work a V-stitch A. So triple crochet, chain 3, triple crochet into the same space. Okay, so we have 3 flowers already, well, bottoms of 3 flowers, and you can see that they're offset from the row beneath. They aren't stacked on top of each other, they're just in between. So we'll keep going. Okay, so we just finished another V-stitch A, and we're looking at our next couple spaces, and we can see that, oh, this is different from what I've been doing the last 5 flowers, which means that something new is coming up. So right here we just finished our V-stitch, and we do have 2 open chain 3 spaces, so that tells me I need to work another flower motif A, but then in the next open chain 3 space, because I'm in a corner, I'm going to have to do a corner V-stitch instead of just a regular V-stitch. So we'll go ahead and work our flower. Okay, so there's our flower motif. And again, looking at the next space, we can see clearly that this is not the chain 3 space that's in between 2 petals, which tells me instead of just doing a regular V-stitch, I need to do a corner V-stitch. And since we're in round A, I'll do the V-stitch A, the corner V-stitch A, which is a triple crochet, followed by chain 3 and another triple crochet, and then I'm going to chain 3 and then work another V-stitch into that same space. So 2 and 3. Triple crochet, 1, 2 and 3, and another triple crochet. Alright, so that's half half of that round. Really starting to come together. So you'll see here we had, in that first set we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 flowers on the side, and now we've got the start of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So in 2 rounds we increased by a whole flower on each side. So every 2 rounds we'll increase by 2 flowers. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to keep going around and work the second half of this round, and we'll do the exact same thing as we did before, and then we'll notice as we get towards the end of the round over here, we'll work our V-stitch and then our flower, and then we'll see, oh, I've come to a weird spot again, and we'll work the round A end and the round A join. Okay, so we're back. And we're at the end of our second round A with our bottom flower motifs. And we just worked a V-stitch in between 2 petals. And we see, oh, we're back to where we started. So we'll do another flower motif, the same as before. Alright, so here we are, and we're ready for the round A join. So we're going to work a V-stitch into the next space here, which is for round A, it's a triple crochet, chain 3, triple crochet. And now we have to join these 2 V-stitches, and because it's round A, we're going to chain 2 and then join with a single crochet, just like we did the first time. Which puts us exactly where we need to be for round B. This is the same thing again, and it will be very easy. You'll notice when you get worked around and get all the way to the corner, and then you'll do your corner V-stitches, and then you'll continue working your top 2 petals and V-stitches all the way back around until you get back to the beginning, and then you'll do your round B start, which we already showed, and it's going to be the exact same thing, except for this time you will end up working through 6 flowers on each side. And then, yeah, we just keep repeating rounds A and B until you get your poncho to the length you want it to be. The last one that I did I think 9 flowers. So 18 rows plus the two starting rounds, or sorry, 18 rounds plus the 2 starting rounds, so 20 total. And I'll get out my measuring tape. Or measuring stick. So let's see. That's 14 inches plus another 4, so 18 inches or so, 20 if you want to stretch it out tight. Each flower for scale is about 3 inches wide, 3-ish, 2.5, 3 inches tall. And this is what it ends up looking like. So the corners actually end up being the middle front and back. And this is how your corners will look when they're all lined up. And yeah, it's a nice hefty weight. It's very heavy because the yarn's so heavy, but when you put it on, it's not super warm because you can see all the holes there, but it's enough to keep the chill out, I think. So yeah, we'll just keep working. I think on this one that I've started, I might turn it into a blouse. I'll probably make it a poncho eventually, but I want to show how to make it into a blouse working from the top down and putting in some sleeves. So we'll see how it looks, and we'll go from there. So far I think it's looking pretty good, and thanks for watching.